then RPG stole their star player. But
wouldn't it be interesting?
RPG
No,
now
sorry
looking
to
to
interrupt you
recover.
there. Wouldn't it be interesting whether Timeless had left Timeflow before that game?
It would be interesting. I assume yes. I think they would have the time to like swap the rosters before the Crucible, because that way, that's the only possible way that Ustia would have been able to like get onto KT, right?
Yeah.
Or Lycia now.
So
He would have had to swap beforehand and then win, which is a gamble in itself, but it's a cool thing to have.
cool thing to have indeed. So the myths, the legend, the tales around Timeless. We now have another one. And RPG, by the way, facing Beyond the Game on Sky Temple. That is going to be our first battleground, as you can see in the bottom half of your screens right now, where we see a little introduction featuring Butcher. Pretty cool to see him, at least in the introduction videos. Tracer taking out of the equation. None of the teams wants to be able to deal with that. So what is the response going to be? Maybe a Malfurion ban. I would actually love to see more Malfurion bans. That, of course, could make the teams benefit that have a strong Stukov player in the ranks, just like Beyond the Game has.
Honestly, after today's games, I think Garrosh should be just in the ban phase every time at this point. If you want to see more varied tank play, then you might as well remove it. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting it. The Chinese teams... I mean, Garrosh, if you go by the meme that is that has been like China's meta since like 2015, the meme has always been Chinese bush meta. What is the worst hero to run into in a bush? It has to be Garrosh. But he is let through this time. We see Maiev banned out. Or Cho'Gall. Even Cho'Gall, you have a chance to escape. Garrosh just throws you into his team and you die.
True. Probably very true. All right, so no Maiev. Looks like teams are starting to draft a little more old school, if you will. No longer will we see Junkrat bans, Garrosh bans. Although I totally agree with you, Tetra, that a Garrosh ban can definitely have merit. So, going to be a first pick on Garrosh. No, it is Hanzo once again.
Yes.
That is exactly what we saw happen between SPT and Soa, where so much focus was put on Hanzo. And guess why? Melody C made that hero look like it was the strongest one in the game.
Yes, he did. So that leaves open in terms of the highest priority heroes. Sonya, Malfurion, Garrosh, Greymane. Yeah, those are the ones that are immediately leaping into my head. I would have to say Garrosh Sonya would be a pretty solid opening if your opponent has first pick on Assassin.
Even a Genji, to be honest. Garrosh Genji, apply a little more pressure on the Hanzo in the backline.
G heroes. Many G-based heroes. Garrosh, Genji, Greymane in terms of like the top heroes at the moment.
Yeah, very true. So Mal, that's a goodie. That's a goodie.
And then what? A Junkrat. Ah, we missed him. That's fair.
Junkrat, of course, providing all that dislocation, all that disengage. Especially cool to see at that boss platform if they wanted to go for that round. The Riptire can oftentimes deal terrible damage or else zone enemies out, whereas the Concussion Mine can cause people to fly over the walls, securing bosses or mercenary camps in that matter. So definitely not a bad pick, and they go double Shimada Mada.
Where's Cursed Hollow been today?
Dude, China doesn't want to play it. I don't think we've seen a single Cursed Hollow game the entire Phase 2.
I think we've seen one, but that's still an incredibly low amount of Cursed Hollow.
I don't even remember a single... No, I don't think I recall any single Cursed Hollow games.
I'm getting my Open Division mixed up with
absolutely
China.
absurd.
I will double check.
If you think about
it's
it,
still pretty. That was pretty crazy.
very low on Infernal Shrines, very low on Volskaya,
Towers,
and Sky Temple all over the place. Which is actually funny because I know that a lot of European pro players and Open Division players that I talk to actually feel like Sky Temple is getting a little annoying. It's getting a little one-sided most of the time. So a lot of teams in that regard want to sometimes deviate and shift to the maps like Cursed Hollow, Volskaya even. So yeah.
So an interesting fact I have found. For starters, no, Cursed Hollow is not there.
Yeah.
But so far,
so.
You are correct. So far, every single matchup has either included Sky Temple, Towers of Doom, or Dragonshire. Those are the three maps that have been in every single series, one of the three.
Yeah, of course, also counting the bans, right? So.
No, the ones that were picked.
Oh, okay, cool.
They've been in every, in terms of just, at least one of them has been in every single series.
That's crazy. That's actually interesting.
Map popularity, yo. As Zeratul is removed, that's sensible. You don't want to set up for that that Riptire VP combo.
It also takes a lot of strength away from other combo heroes. So without the VP, you know, Ring of Frost is very unlikely. The Riptire is going to lose a lot of strength. Yeah. Speaking of Jaina and Ring of Frost, are we going to see her this time? Jaina has actually fallen off both in popularity and success rate, I feel. Where she used to be the dominant pick in China in Phase 1 that we actually highlighted at the Eastern Clash as well. And that was actually picked by Korean teams sometimes at the Eastern Clash as well. She has disappeared and vanished quite a bit.
Yeah, she's popping in every now and again, just not as much as she used to be. She had like an 80, the highest she got to was an 86% win rate at one point in China over the course of like 20 games. That was crazy. Garrosh makes it in, and Tyrael at the same time.
Yeah, that is already quite strong. Keep in mind that shields of all sorts, basically, work really well on Garrosh. The lower he is, the more armor he has, and this armor resilience gets translated over into shield destruction as well, meaning that shields are much harder to get rid of Garrosh when he has one available with a lot of armor. So that makes sense. Of course, even more boss control right now. I can really see the playstyle from BTG. They're trying to steal away Merc camps. They're trying to invade them and then holy ground the Junkrat dislocation, and of course the Garrosh sitting on top of it. It's going to be really hard to get rid of those platforms. To get rid of those heroes on the platforms, that is, for RPG.
And it will. So now then, for RPG, what do they need for this? What could help with this? ETC, perhaps. They don't have a tank yet. Is going to be able to at least disrupt a little bit. Just add something with face melt. But is it going to be enough? Medivh makes it in. We were talking about Fission versus Garrosh. And here is that displacement that they needed in the form of Diablo. And it's the classic combo, Medivh Diablo.
Wait a minute, Tetra. Were RPG listening to our stream? Because remember what we just said a few minutes ago, right? How do you potentially deal with Garrosh? You pick the Medivh, you protect the tossed target, you drop a portal, lend him a hand, allowing him to escape. I'm really pumped to see how well that's going to work out now.
I'm looking at this draft, and I'm going to wait to see what BTG picks before I make my final judgment. But right now, it's looking like RPG have rolled a 20 to me. They are looking super solid with this draft.
A natural 20?
A natural 20. A roll 20, if you will.
Nice. But let's see, what could they have now? I would love to see a little bit more sustained damage, and Tychus provides exactly that against the Medivh. If they had gone for, let's say, a combo-dependent mage like Chromie, it would have been a little easier for the Medivh to get value from his shields. But Tychus I like quite a bit. I could even see a laser here, to be honest, to pose a little bit of a bigger threat. Although the laser is a little more susceptible to the gates, to the portals, sorry.
Yeah, I've got to lean towards the Odin just purely due to the fact that the extra armor is going to help protect against Hanzo Genji. Because the entire objective here for BTG is in a team fight, don't die. If they die, they are going to lose the fight. If at any point they're a man down, it's going to be very difficult for them to come back. Whereas on the side of RPG, they can afford to lose a Diablo, maybe even Hanzo or Genji, and the other one can still carry the load.
So, I'm calling it already, Tetra. I mean, I don't have to be a mastermind to call this right, but we're going to see some heated boss battles in this game, potentially, with leyline seals, concussion mines, holy grounds, sanctifications. It's going to be amazing.
I hope you're right, and I think it's going to be pretty fantastic to see either way. This should be close. BTG haven't been performing the best. RPG are slowly seem to be finding their sea legs again. I'm excited, and I really am looking forward to this, and I'm going to be rooting, at least a little bit, for RPG, who I will be introducing on the left-hand side. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the left, it is RPG, and playing for them, it is going to be... Give me a panel. There we go. Chicken on the Medivh, MJ on Stukov, Sar on Hanzo, C on Diablo, and Timeless on Genji.
And their opponents with a very interesting team composition featuring a lot of CC is Beyond the Game with 619 here playing on the Garrosh. Tychus is being played by LLK, Druid on the Druid, Malfurion.
Hey!
Hey! Junkrat is being played by Lai, I believe. And Tyrael, I think, is the one we're missing. It is. No, Lies is on tutorial, and dancing is on the Titans. Now we got them all.
And Junkrat also has one of the best dancers in the game, so that is happiness.
Yeah.
Hooray indeed. So you're talking about that boss control, scatter arrow for Hanzo. Immediately reacting, okay, yep, we need to win the boss before they get here, if anything. So that's going to definitely help him out, assuming he can get enough stacks.
Yeah, there we go. What are we going to see here from Beyond the Game? They need a couple more points if they want to regain their former strength as the 3rd seed of China.
Good attempt by Dancing there. Dropping that concussion mine. I think he wanted to interrupt Diablo mid-charge, but was just a little bit too slow on the reactivation and actually just pushed him into safety. Good idea, though.
Cool idea indeed. I just can't wait to see that Medivh. I really want to see how much of a difference he can make against...
It's a chicken Medivh, though.
Chicken Medivh? Wow, chicken, man. I mean, he was probably the closest we could get to a true one-trick. In 2017 and phase 1 of 2018, right? We were criticizing his low hero pool over and over and over again, and if he didn't play on those comfort heroes, he was looking like quite like a chicken, to be honest. I can't think of anything less harmful than chicken. There's no curer form than a chicken. What was that?
Chickens are vicious.
Really?
They are not friendly. Yeah. Have you not met a chicken?
I don't think I have.
They are evil little
They'll scratch your eyes out.
They will run at you and peck you at maximum possible speed.
All right. So yeah, Chicken, it's so cool to see his development, right? He grew into a hen, if you will, when it comes to hero diversity. Now playing heroes like Jaina, playing heroes like Medivh. So cool to see.
This is his first Medivh. I've literally just checked. First Medivh ever being played on stream by Chicken. Excited to see how well he's able to do it. Sorry?
Probably by the entire team of RPG. I can't remember any team playing Medivh. Maybe Infinity. Yeah, you may have a point there. Ooh, dancing so close to escaping here. The deflect was not strong enough to go over the wall when there is no vision. So that was quite the hold, quite the escape here. 619 and his men and his main mercenaries are trying to push in as much as they can on the top lane. That, of course, paves the way for a strong top temple, value. Cheeky little grenade here by LOK, by the way, interrupting the lurking arm. And you can see the heal by Malfurion, keeping the wizard mercenary alive for a little longer. That is really something I want to see and highlight a little more here. Healing mercenaries when playing heroes like Malfurion or even Uther sometimes is definitely worth it.
C hides out in this bush. Decides to take a more roundabout route. Let's see the chicken fly. We have as the chicken move into Raven form.
So here's the reason why Beyond the Game went for the middle temple, although they had just weakened the top lane handsomely. So they could have actually had the fort value if they wanted to go for it. But no, they go for the middle because they want to get more towers destroyed, which usually results in a safer way to get an experienced lead in general. Junkrat, by the way, still dealing with the bottom lane. Soaking up additional experience. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a quite significant lead for Beyond the Game over the next minute or two.
Exactly. Top lane is the most efficient lane to actually get in general in terms of long-term damage, because it sets up for the bruiser camp. But as you said perfectly, mid lane, if you're able to do it, can result in towers if it hasn't been weakened earlier, which means a more short-term goal. It just depends on how much you plan on doing in the early game for the amount of value you're going to get.
So, Dancing trying to go for those siege giants. Up to this point, both teams have actually completely avoided each other. Looks like they're playing super patiently. The moment we mention it, though, Lai is in trouble. Gets to safety, though, thanks to the formidable movement speed that Smite offers. Also, Eldrin's Might is good ability, yo. But yeah, both teams seem to understand that, you know what, if we brawl too much on Sky Temple, there's a chance of either one of us falling behind quite significantly. Especially with the Medivh, I think you have so much disengage potential all the way. But this is actually a really uncharacteristic move for RPG. One of the most aggressive teams in the league, with players like Timeless on their Genji, for example. But, you know, Beyond the Game just doesn't really want to risk anything. They're the ones who are currently in the driver's seat. They're the ones taking down the bottom port. And they need to, because look at top lane. It's getting sieged as well.
Yeah, they need to port back. That's going to be difficult because Genji will potentially try to stop ports, so he doesn't die here. Oh, my Timeless. He is running away. Grenade, beautiful deflect, and Timeless is out of there.
Yeah, the grenade was actually misaimed, right? It was misaimed, otherwise it could have interrupted the deflect. But either way, Timeless would have survived anyways. So good move.
I love sonic arrows being used to kill anything, let alone buildings.
Yeah, that's the most glorious way to take down any structure. The tiny little sonic arrow by Hanzo. Glorious.
Glorious indeed. Medivh keeping an eye on 619, and this is exactly what we said, Kendrick. Chicken's been listening to our stream. Hello, Chicken, we're fans. As he just keeps an eye on the biggest threat, the one hero who can just punish his team when they rotate. If they know where he is, it gives them a much easier time in the game.
Just imagine there being a Medivh skin that is actually including a chicken. So he's flying around as a chicken all the time. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, absolutely. It would be very great to
be
do
the
that.
theme for it. Fast food Medivh.
Oh, Portal. Speaking of fast for Medivh, Portal down, Diablo is out.
Yep, saving his buddy, and there we go with the lane line seal. Polybomb has seen quite a lot of play recently, especially in Europe, where you would oftentimes be able to shut down heroes like Tracer, heroes like Genji very handsomely with that additional source of very reliable crowd control. Leyline Seal is oftentimes not as reliable. But when it comes for making the big plays, right? Making the big wombo schmombos happen, then of course the Leyline Seal Apocalypse, Dragon's Arrow, that is the combo that RPG is going to be on the lookout for.
Kendrick, what's the name of Medivh's tower?
Karazhan.
Karazhan. So in theory, if you had a chicken Medivh skin, you could call it Karazhan Fried Chicken.
Yes. Please hire this man and make it a reality. Give him that skin.
Yes. I will get Blizzard a lawsuit in record time. As C gets rooted. Nice silence as the counter though. C was in trouble but able to walk back. Apocalypse is dropped. Does actually hit Dancing here at the ley line. Only lands on one member looking for LLK. Tackling him more. But C actually goes through the portal. I don't think that was intentional here. He's in a terrible position.
Oh no! When the portal goes south, quite literally, use the Shadow Charge to get to safety though. Yet another shield by Medivh, keeping Diablo warm and safe. So much damage by Timeless in the backline. Even if he falls, I think RPG can still win this team fight. The deflect is real!
They get him finally, but the RPG are ticking down. The health bars are so low, but there's no one left to carry the team fight. Portal's there. MJ in full retreat, gets ready to go through the portal. Run, MJ! Live will chase him down, very likely here. Chicken has given his life. Rip stack. And now it's just up to MJ. Can he kill Lai and give himself an escape route? Needs to mount up. Junkrat's on the way. Junkrat doesn't make it over the wall. There is the weighted posture. He's just going to try and kill Tyrael.
MJ, you glorious man. You went down with a big fight. You didn't go down without a fight. That was beautiful to see. He tried to get the maximum value out of it. I was actually so surprised to see Timeless survive for this long and still RPG lose that fight. I think all of that distraction could have been used so well, but you saw Medivh just once, you know, the Leyline Seal is down, once all of his abilities are in cooldown, he's just not really the punching here anymore. Hold that thought, Saw, and Timeless trying to go for it again.
See, trying to get through the portal. The route's too good. Finally makes it. Good job there.
Yeah, but once again, you brought up a very good point. C actually misclicking on that portal. He wanted to get a combo off. He wanted to stay in the thick of things a little longer, but the portal completely brought him up on the other side of the battlefield. So that was a little bit of chaos, a little bit of mayhem involved here. Once again, you see trying to lock on 619. That's an ambitious endeavor, though.
Timeless dropping some damage. He dodges the taunt. Wow. That's a huge deal here. The portal is down. Does he want to go through? Yes, he does. But Junkrat's in position. Twilight Dream is dropped. Boss is aggroed. And Boss comes down. There is Apocalypse looking for Malfurion. Boss is aggro. Nice into the fray though. Saves Malfurion. Good moves by 619. On the other side of the fight, Junkrat's already down. Diablo finally kills off Malfurion. And that's a 1 for 0. They're looking for LLK as well, but Diablo's taking a lot of damage here. Needs to be careful. And Saw will die here, chasing far too deep onto the Odin. But revenge achieved by Timeless. Okay, revenge achieved by C, and Timeless
What is going on? They're all over the place. Left, right, bottom, top. They're fighting everywhere on multiple fronts. I don't even know what Hunt was doing all by himself, tanking a lot of that damage. But somehow, in some way, shape, or form, RPG was able to win that team fight. Basically shutting down the experience lead that Beyond the Game had for the most part. They're probably going to get this temple value as well. It's going to be a battle of the tanks here, C against 619. But of course, there's a Raven, there's an Owl in that skin hovering over the heads of Garrosh. So what a crazy game. I don't even know what to say about that teamfight anymore. Seek, just stop it with the relentless.
Why though? He's delivered to the portal, the juggling of the bounces there, and C goes down. He has enough souls to revive, but he is now so much less tanky. But why did he tackle? This team was nowhere near him.
Yeah. You can't always get away with it. You had 100 soul stones on you, true. That makes you tanky AF, but it's still not going to be enough to avoid the combo damage. Tychus, remember, he doesn't care about health. He's percentage damage with the minigun. And then, of course, the displacement, once again, concussion mine. Absolute MVP plays here from Dancing on that Junkrat.
Dancing, like I said, the Golden Mayhem. Leyline Seal. Hands on two. Diablo has Apocalypse looking for Dancing here. Here's the target. Tackles back out of the Tigers. LLK gets deleted. Oh, come on. Garrosh, you serious? 619. Absolute saving play. Killing off Diablo in the process. What a legend.
You gotta be kidding. Like, this game is just a constant bloodbath fest between the two teams. They're not letting go. The moment they spot each other, they're going at it. But, you know, Beyond the Game right now is starting to, once again, get ahead. I just don't really know why RPG is looking for those constant fights. They're not even trying to play the macro anymore. And you can see that if you look at the minimap, it's almost painted entirely red. So many structures were taken down by Beyond the Game because of these reckless engages by, most importantly, C on the Diablo. I really have to question his decision-making. Like, true, you can get those kills. And let's face it, that Diablo... that Tychus survival was very unlucky, right? That could have been a kill. But the other engages prior to that were very much reckless.
I would agree, but I also think Timeless has been doing the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
Dropping a lot of damage is what I almost said there, but damage onto the backline has been really, really effective. But he's been putting himself in danger so many times. Nice dodge with the portal there by Chicken.
Good portals. I really have to commend the Medivh. Like, Chicken actually doing a really good job on landing good leyline seals just in time for the Diablo Apocalypse to land. Good portals, but there's only so much one Birdman can do when the rest of your team just decides to go brain AFK mode. That was probably a little too harsh. I apologize, RPG. Don't sue me. But they just need to be a little more patient, a little bit more aware of what's actually going on, how much value they can get from a kill, how much value they can get from a team fight. If they just brawl at first sight, not going to go so well.
But level 16 is about to be available for RPG, where they're actually going to be on even talents and have the opportunity to brawl if they do want to without being at a disadvantage, other than these slight stat differences that the level difference gives.
Now, this is the
value stops them running into 619 here.
Yeah, I think now, for the first time in this game, I would actually agree with RPG just taking the next moment or taking the next opportunity here, because they're only going to have this one shot, right? They're only going to have this one time window in which they can potentially make something work against their opponents. If they wait too long, the temples are going to get rid of the bottom keep. The boss could even be taken, or the waiting race until level 20 could just be won by Beyond the Game.
Yeah, Beyond the Game, just they're very happy to wait. They are happy to wait and soak and just keep everything alive and hopefully not lose a... Here, Drag... Use Silencer into the fray. Oh, Peldrim's Might's back into the fight here. There's the taunt. Diablo is the target. Force of Will. The juggling is so good. He tackles back out. Apoc is down. And Portal to escape. Leyline Seal is down. And that actually just completely denies the Dragon Blade.
That was really well done, actually, by both teams. Strong protection, strong disengage as well by RPG. Diablo, though, he needs to get back so quickly, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of Malfurion, keeping everyone alive with Tyrael. They are full health, everyone of Beyond the Game. That means they're going to have a strong foothold, they're going to have a strong position to fight over this one temple, and that means RPG is going to have to regroup, which takes a lot of time. Even Odin is still available, Tetra. That is huge. Twilight Dream and Odin are still available.
Those are big-name heroics available for big-time fights, and that is what they are going to want to do here, as RPG, without heroics, are moving back in, looking to take control and stop their keeps dying.
Now they're taking things a little more slowly here Beyond the Game. They can, of course, afford to do so. Reflect is huge. So is the combo against LK. He survives once again. How does he do it?
How does Tigers keep surviving this? But look at the health bars of RPG. This time, they've actually been able to take that fight and keep themselves healthy. Now, LLK is going to want to drop into that Odin form now as he turn around. The Junkrat just completely disrupting the team. As 619 moved in, tried to grab someone, gets rooted by the Stukov, though, as they're trying to take down the Diablo. Diablo's forward himself some time. There's the portal. Leyline Seal grabbing 2, and that's the disengage by RPG.
RPG's fighting against the clock, though. It is no longer theirs to disengage, I feel. If they give up this one, it's going to most certainly be another keep sooner or later in the middle. The catapults are at the core as well. They need to force something. The core shields of RPG are already dropping. They're already falling. They need to make something happen now or go back and defend. Okay, the middle keep is safe for now. That's good for them. The level 20 race is now the biggest threat for them to face. Catapults, are they actually dealt with? No, the shield is still dropping. RPG, are you aware of this? You don't even have ley lines, so you can't do that! Not against the last
catapult died. And yeah, this is risky without leyline through the portal. Diablo dancing back and forth. There is the holy ground, but good save. The portal's in the way there. Stukov put himself way out of position. Twilight Dream and wrecked. Down goes Diablo.
Why in the world would you start the boss? I get the idea, right? You have to make a play happen. It is pretty much a Hail Mary play, because otherwise the next temple phase would have definitely wrecked you. But you could have actually just danced around it a little bit, maybe force a reckless engage by the enemy team and then turn around. But to head on, go all in on that boss against Junkrat Turiel is very much foolish. Oh, denied, baby!
Concussion mine. Very good against Medivh, it seems. Chicken makes it back into bird form, does not get flipped by 619. Unfortunately, his score is about to die, which is less than ideal. Medivh does have leyline, so we can buy some time for his team to respawn.
Oh, dancing. Can we just highlight his concussion mines? During the entire game, he was able to isolate targets, prevent them from entering the portals. That was a pleasure to see. GG. Game number 1 goes over to Beyond the Game. Well-deserved Tetcher.
Wow. That was very, very strong performance by BTG there in that game. And yeah, some misdecision making from RPGs. Like, a lot of those decisions I'm questioning the logic for. I think a shot calling problem perhaps is the issue here.
Definitely. I think that is the most likely assumption here, that communication-wise, things are not going super well for them. They had a couple of questionable calls, especially C, who we know as a rather reliable, actually pretty solid tank player, is just not looking like the old C we know here. He was doing okay, he was doing well in phase 1, but phase 2, with reckless aggression all the time, engages were a little bit questionable here. Maybe they can slow him down and just calm the communication a little more. Or just have a different shot color. If C ends up being the shot color, that needs to be changed right here, right now. Kudos, though, to Chicken. I don't think everything is gloomy and dark for RPG. Timeless and Chicken, I think those two players were actually doing okay. Genji escaping death multiple times, dealing damage. Medivh, strong leyline seals for the most part, good protection. But in the end, it was just too little to turn this game around.
Chicken Medivh, pro, was played really well.